Hello friends, this is Pankaj Rathore and I am your quant mentor. Today we will study the concept of successive percentage change. So first of all, what is successive percentage change? This we will try to understand. So first of all, the percentage change means if I am changing any value, that is I am increasing it or I am decreasing it, that is the percentage change on any value. For an example, if I'm having a number 100 and if I'm increasing it by 20%, that means now it will become what? 120, because I am increasing this 100 by 20%, or I would say there is a 20% change in this 100 and this number becomes what? 120. But in successive percentage change, what we will see that there will be more than, or I would say equal to 2 percentage changes. That means there would be A percent change, then B percent change, and even there can be more than 2 percentage changes. And if one value is changed by 2 or more than 2 percentages, that means there is a successive percentage change. So let's see how this successive percentage change works and what will be the net percentage change, or I would say what will be my final answer after the successive percentage change. So there is a formula to find out the net change. That is, if there are two changes, that is A percent followed by B percent, if there are 2 percentage changes, so there is a formula that is A percent plus B percent plus A into B, that means the product of these two divided by 100 and percent sign. Now let us see that if there is a one case, that is if A value is 20% increase. Now try to understand one thing. I am using the word there is a percentage change. But it can be what? It can be increase or it can be decrease. So there is a change in the formula if it is increase or decrease. So what will be the change? Now let us see that. If there is a percentage increase, if there is a what? Percentage increase, we will take this A and B as positive, and if this percentage is what? Decrease, then we will take it as what? Negative. That means if there is a 20% increase, that means A value is 20, and because it is an increase, I will take it as what? Positive. This is 20%, followed by what? Again 30% increase. That means the value of B is 30, and this increase word gives us what information? That this 30 is what? Positive. So A is also positive and B is also positive in our first case. So let us see, the value of A and B becomes what? This plus 20 and plus 30. Now we will put these values in this formula and let us see that what net change these two values will give. So if I will put these values in this formula, so what is become here? So the value of A is 20 and B is what? 30. And the product of this A and B, that is 20 into 30. That means this 20 into 30 divided by 100 will gives us what? That is 6. So we can see that the third term is what? 6%. So 20 plus 30 plus 6, our result is what? 56%. This is my first case. Now we will see that in the second case, if these values are what? Decrease. So if A percent is also decrease, B percent is also decrease, most of my student used to think that in the first case, if both are increasing, my answer is plus 56, that is 56% increase. So in the second case, generally student thinks that if both percentages are decreasing, that means my answer would be minus 56. But this is not the case. What answer? We will definitely get what? If this 20% decrease followed by 30% decrease, that means now the value of A becomes what? Minus 20%. And the value of B becomes what? Minus 30%. And how we are getting this minus 44? Because this A and B is giving us what? Minus 50%, because minus 20 and minus 30 is 50%. But these two A and B are getting multiplied here, and we know that when two negative numbers are multiplied, so minus minus convert to what? Positive number. So now this term becomes what? This term becomes 6%. That was the case in our first case also. So now answer will be minus 50 plus 6%, and this will gives us what? Minus 44%. So the ultimate change, or I would say the net change here, is minus 44%, not minus 56%. Now let us see that these are some easy numbers, that is 20, 30. What if these values changes to some difficult numbers like 14.28%, and it is followed by 12.5%. In the first and the second term, that is simply A plus B or minus A minus B, there we can easily add or subtract these two numbers. But in the third term, where we are multiplying the A and B, it will be a very tough task to multiply these kind of numbers. So we will find some different method for these some difficult percentages. For an example, this is my 14.28% and this is my 12.5%. So what we will do here, we will use a multiplying factor concept. What is multiplying factor concept? I will take one simple percentage example so that you can understand the concept of multiplying factor. Let us see, if there is a 20% change, or I would say there is a 20% increase. So first of all, we will try to find the fractional value of this 20%. So the fractional value of this 20% is, I will remove this percent sign and it will becomes what? 20 by 100. And its value is what? 1 by 5. So this 1 by 5 is equivalent to what? The 20%. So the fractional value 1 by 5 and 20% both are equal. Now let us see that if there is a number 5 and if I have to increase 20%, because in any fraction the denominator value represent the reference value, or I would say it is the initial value. So when I am increasing this 20%, so this 20% will apply to what? This value 5, that is the denominator. When this 5 is increased by 20%, or I would say, because 20% is 1 by 5, so 1 by 5 of this 5 is 1. So I would say this numerator value represent what? This numerator value represent the 20% of 5, or I would say there is one concept ki numerator value is equal to what? X% of denominator, when this n upon d is equal to what? X%. So I am increasing 1 in 5, so this will become what? 6. So this is my initial value. After increasing, this becomes what? Final value, which is what? Which is 6. Now the value becomes, I would say, the multiplier, its formula is what? Final value upon initial value. That means this multiplier becomes what? 6 by 5. So that means if I am having any value, like for an example, I'm having 1. If it is increased by 20%, I will simply multiply this 1 with what? 6 by 5, because 6 by 5 is the multiplier. Because in this case, the 1 is my initial value, and according to this formula, what is the final value? It is initial value into multiplier. So it is initial value into what? Multiplier. Now we will try to find out. Let us erase this. And how to find the successive percentage change by applying this multiplier wala concept. So let us see that. So there is a one formula that net change multiplier is equal to multiplier of A into multiplier of B, and even for more than 2% we can use this formula. So what is the net change? Before that we have to find the multiplier, and then we will convert this multiplier to what? Fraction. So there is a change that is 14.28%, and I know that 14.28% is equal to what? 1 by 7. Even my student, when we have studied the percentage chapter, there we have learned more than like 20 fractions. We have converted those fractions to what? We have converted those fractions to percentage and percentage to fractions. And these more than 20, or I would say 20 percentage or fraction values will come in more than 80% questions. So we have to learn all those fractions like 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 7, 1 by 8, and till 1 by 30 we should know the fractional value of all the percentage, or I would say the percentage value of all the fractions. So what is 14.28%? It is 1 by 7. And what is 12.5%? It is 1 by 8. Both are increasing. The change is what? Increase. So now I will find the multiplier for this 14.28% change, and multiplier will be the denominator value is initial value, it remains same. Only numerator value will change, that is 7 is increased by 1, it will become 8. Here this 8 is increased by 1, it becomes 9, and I will put the value of MA and MV, or I would say M1, M2, M3 and so on. This will become 8 upon 7 into, this is 9 upon 8. This 8 and 8 is cancelled out. It becomes 9 upon 7. This is my multiplier. Now I have to convert this multiplier to the fraction. Again, denominator value will not change. And what is the difference between this 7 and 9? That is 2. Now this fraction value is 2 upon 7, and I know that 1 upon 7 is 14.28. So 2 upon 7 will be the double of this 14.28. It becomes what? 28.56%. So this is the overall change we can see here. So whenever we will see the tough numbers, or I would say these kind of numbers, those are having some decimals or their fractional values we know, or we have that fractional value in our brain, so we can use this formula. This formula is very, very easy. Even we can use this formula for that 20 and 30 value also. Now let us see. I will apply this formula for 20 and 30% also. So first of all, we should know the value of 20% in fraction, that is, it is 1 by 5. If it is 1 by 5, then the multiplier becomes, so I am saying that if there is a 20% increase followed by 30% increase, that means first of all I have to convert this 20% in fraction, which is equal to what? 1 by 5. Now I will change this to multiplier. So my MA is what? 6 by 5. Now I will change this 30%. This is what? 3 by 10. And I will change this to multiplier, which is 13 by 10. Now I am having these two multiplier, that is MA and MB. So what is the value of MA here? This is 6 by 5 into what is the value of MB here? 13 by 10. I will multiply 13 into 6 is what? 13 into 6 is 78 divided by this is 50. This is my multiplier. I have to convert this to fraction. What is the difference here? The difference is 28, and denominator value remains same, and we will find the percentage by multiplying it by 100%. So this is into 2, and you can see that my answer is what? My answer is what? 28 into 2, that is 56%. Again, now I will use this formula for that second case where we have minus 20% and minus 30%, or I would say 20% decrease and 30% decrease. So there again we will use the fractional value, but the multipliers will be different because there is a change, which is what? Percentage decrease. So I will erase first, then I will apply this formula again for that second case where both percentage are decreasing. So when 20% decrease and 30% decrease, the fractional value is again 1 by 5. The fractional value is again what? 3 by 10. What is the multiplier here? Denominator value will remain same. 1 is decreased from 5, it will become what? 4. And here multiplier B will be what? Denominator will be same, and this numerator value 3 is decreased from 10, it will become what? 7. Now I will multiply this 2 multiplier, that is 4 by 5 into what? 7 by 10, and I can cancel out. This is 5. It will become 7 into 2 is 14. This is 25. So this is my multiplier. I will convert this to fraction. So what is the difference here? 6 and 5, 11 is the difference. Denominator value will be remain same. I will find percentage. This cancel, I would say this is 4, and 44% decrease will be my answer, because this multiplier value is what? This value is less than 1. Whenever the value of multiplier is less than 1, the result is what? Percentage decrease. Whenever the value of multiplier is greater than 1, that means it will gives us what? Percentage increase value. Thank you very much. This is concept of successive percentage change.